Here we are. Here is the pre-finals at 2016 edition of Lachie's Weekly Footy Roundup, soon to be known as Lachie Does Footy, Lachie's version. We're going to be looking at the results from the final round of the home and away rounds, the ladder to win the home and away rounds. We'll be letting you know with the finals fixture, ready for this next episode, which will be the finals. And I think there will be a few odds to take a look at. Like the All-Australian team, who won the Rising Star. And I reckon that'll be about it for the episode after this. Anyways, we're going to be reviewing the rounds for, one last time before finals. Adelaide and West Coast at Adelaide Oval. Well, the Crows kind of did put up some sort of a fight. But West Coast kind of pretty much ran away with it in the last quarter to win by 29 points. Matt Crouch played a great game for the Crows to cover for Rory's absence. 29 disposals, 10 tackles, 5 marks and 5 clearances. Matt Prittis played great with 33 disposals and 11 tackles, while Andrew Gaff had 41 possessions and 7 clearances. Now we move on to the goal kickers. Josh Kennedy kicked 5 for the Eagles. Mark LaCroix 2 and Jack Darling 2. The Adelaide's only multiple goal kickers were Camillus Yeoman and Richard Douglas. This was not the usual Adelaide Crows team from most of the season, as they were a free-scoring team for most of the year. Now we move on to Saturday footy. Well, Adelaide player Lachlan Brown flew to Melbourne that week to attend the Geelong-Melbourne game at the Cannery. To see which team he's impressed with, you could potentially sign with next season. Well, that's Melbourne out of the race now. Not just for the finals altogether, but Lachlan Brown's signature, as Geelong won by 111 points. Joel Selwood played great for the Cats, though. 36 disposals, 6 clearances and a goal. 27 disposals, 7 marks and 3 goals for Menegala. Dangerfield had another great game as usual. 32 disposals, 11 clearances and a point. Well, what a game for Tom Hawkins. 6 goals. Daniel Menzel, 4. Sam Menegala, 3. Jimmy Bartell with 3 on what might be one of his last games. Stephen Motlop, 2. And Josh Caddy, 2. The only multiple goal kicker for Melbourne was Jeff Garlett. Geelong, however, they played really good in this game, which kind of impressed Lachlan Brown. As for Melbourne, well, see themselves out. And they're pretty much going back to square one, back to tanking, like they did in 2013. Essendon and Carlton at the MCG. This will be the last time I'll have the top-up players. The Bombers won this game by 24 points. Although Kate Simpson played great for the Blues with 35 disposals and 7 marks. Zach Merritt played great with 34 disposals, 3 tackles, 4 marks and 6 clearances. Now you move on to the multiple goal kickers. Joe Danaher kicked 5 for the Dons. McDonald, Tupper Woody with 4 and Kyle Langford with 3. For Carlton, Matty Wright kicked 3 and Dennis with 2. It's Dennis Armfield I was talking about. Sydney and Richmond at the SCG. Well, this Richmond side had given up. They gave up. Well, Richmond's only good player was Dustin Martin with 53 disposals and 5 tackles in this game. And their only multiple goal kicker was 3 goals to Trent Cotchin. And I don't see any signs that the forward Richmond are giving up on Tyrone Vickery. Well, he can leave at the end of the season. Well, he can see himself out of Richmond after he helped Richmond have a disgraceful 2016. Buddy Franklin with 17 disposals, 11 marks and 7 goals. He's locked in the common medal. Tom Mitchell played great as well. 34 disposals, 7 tackles and 3 clearances and a goal. Well, it's a shame this might be one of his last games for the Sydney Swans. As well, he's put himself on the market for Melbourne clubs next season. Possibly Hawthorn. In this game, Buddy Franklin was 7, Ben McGlynn 5, Gary Rowan 4, Kennedy 2, and Hewitt 2. And I think that's about it to report this game. Gold Coast versus Port Adelaide at Metricon Stadium. Power got up by 23 points. At least the Suns kept it close, unlike their crosstown rivals. Braden Fiorini played great in his second game. 32 disposals, 12 tackles, and 2 goals. Was Gold Coast best. Port Adelaide's Robbie Gray with 34 disposals, 4 marks, 6 clearances, and 2 goals. No, 4 goals. Multiple goal kickers. Jay Schultz kicked 3 on his last game for the club. Well, at least there'll be a farewell present. At least it was a farewell present Port Adelaide gave him. Braden Fjord and Sam Day kicked 2 for the Suns. North Melbourne and GWS at Etihad Stadium. North Melbourne left to fight another day, even though they lost by 37 points. The crowd was so disgraceful. There was no crowd in this game, pretty much. Sam Gibson was North's best with 29 disposals, 10 marks and a point. Tom Scully had 29 disposals this game for the Giants, and 5 tackles, 7 marks, 6 clearances. Multiple goal kickers. John O'Patton with 5 for the Giants, Stevie J 4, and Devin Smith 2. Ben Brown was North Melbourne's multiple goal kicker, and this will be the last time we'll be seeing Boomer Harvey play for North Melbourne in Melbourne. Sorry about me getting angry last episode about the delistings, North Melbourne fans. Hopefully he can still be at least somewhat competitive in 2017. As it looks like, depending on how North Melbourne go in the finals, well, could we see Boomer Harvey playing one more game, or is it for him? I was kind of hoping I would have let him finish up in his own terms. Anyways, for Sunday, St Kilda and Brisbane at Etihad Stadium. Well, Nick, instead of passing it off to Damon Armitage in this game, Nick Rewalt could have got his 10th. Anyways, in this game, well, Nick Rewalt played a great game. Back to the future, all right. 26 disposals, 21 marks, and 9 goals. Is he back to playing like 2006 Nick Rewalt again? What year is this? He kicked 9 in that game against Carlton in 2006. And he kicked 9 against Melbourne in 2004. Shame he didn't kick 10. I mean, he did have 2 teammates who did that in that time. Stevie Milne and Fraser Gehrig. Anyways, let's go to the other multiple goal kickers for the Lions. Josh Walker 3, Tom Rockcliffe 2, and Reece Matheson 2, along with Liam Dawson. Saints have Jack Loney 3, Josh Bruce 3, Tim Membry 2, and I think that's about it. Brisbane's best was, of course, Tom Rockcliffe with 37 disposals and 5 clearances. What a game. Hawthorn was so close to playing in the elimination final. And then Jack Fitzpatrick happened. 2 goals. He kicked 2 goals, including the leveller, before Paul Piopolo would kick the winner, and that was the point. Wow, wow, wow. I'm impressed with this match. Hawthorn by 1 point. Both teams are still in the race to sign Lachlan Brown next season. Depending on his will depend on his decision come deadline day, come the trade period. Adam Treloar had a great game for Collingwood. 36 disposals, 10 clearances, 2 goals. Sean Burgoyne was Hawthorn's best with 19 disposals, 7 tackles and 2 goals. For the multiple goal kickers, Cyril Rioli with 3, Luke Brewster with 2, Billy Hartug 2, Sean Burgoyne 2, and Jack Fitzpatrick kicked 2. As for Collingwood, Ben Crocker kicked 3, 2 to Jesse White, Adam Treloar, Jordan DeGoey, Jared Blair, and we'll probably be seeing him in the Collingwood Guernsey for the last time, Travis Cloak. He didn't have the best of seasons, really, for Collingwood. His next team will be impacting on where Lachlan Brown will want to go. And anyways, we move on to the final game of the round. Fremantle and the Western Bulldogs at Subiaco Oval in Perth. Well, this will be one of the last times. Well, the Western Bulldogs will be heading back to Perth next week. Next game versus the West Coast Eagles in the elimination final. Daniel Pearce played a great game for Matthew Pavlich. 31 disposals, 12 marks and a goal. While Garrick Ebertson, 29 disposals and 14 marks, was a standout in defence. Although Daniel Pearce kicked the goal. Anyways, now we move. Even Stephen Hill and David Mundy would help Pavlich sign off in style. While Dunkley had 18 disposals, 13 tackles and 3 hitouts. Well, take notes for future North Melbourne. That's how your club legends bow out. Multiple goal kickers. Michael Walters was the only multiple goal kicker for Freo. As we say goodbye to Pavlich, even though he's kicked his 700th goal. Tory Dixon with 3 and Clay Smith with 2. It was kind of a bit of a defensive game, really. Now we move on to the ladder after the final round. Well, the Swans have sealed the minor premiership. And they're going to be versing GWS, who we finished 4th in the first of the qualifying finals. And this one is not going to be at the SCG. It's actually going to be at ANZ Stadium. Their turf is not very good for AFL footy. It's more of a rugby league ground. What sport is this? Is this the AFL or is this the NRL? Geelong will finish 2nd with a 17-5 record themselves. And they will be renewing their rivalry with Hawthorn, who will finish 3rd. While for the Crows, at least they're not going to be versing one of these good teams, and at least they won't be versing the likes of Sydney or Geelong in the first final, as they got a home final themselves against North Melbourne, who have finished 8th. The Crows have finished 16th and 6th, but percentage basically got them finishing 5th. If they'd beaten West Coast, well, they probably would have been a chance to finish top. As for Boomer Harvey, his potential last game might be in Adelaide. 6th, we got the West Coast Eagles with a 16-6 record. And they're going to be versing the Western Bulldogs, who are in 7th with a 15-7 record. Now we move on to the final few stages. St Kilda are 9th on the ladder. Port are 10th. They just moved up the ladder while Melbourne are down in 11th. As for now we look at the 10 teams who are going to be going on holiday. Going on holiday now, ready for next season. St Kilda. Well, They're going to be going off to Bali. Same with Port Adelaide, Melbourne, Collingwood, Richmond, Carlton, Fremantle and the Bombers. Well, Gold Coast, well, they'll be getting to enjoy their own holiday themselves at Wet n Wild, Movie World, Dream World, and Sea World, and all the very good theme parks around the Gold Coast, and also the Surfers Paradise. Well, the Brisbane Lions can actually get to enjoy their own holiday in Bali, and also spending some time at Queen Street. And we got some late news. Justin Lepich has just been sacked as Brisbane's coach, meaning the Lions will now be looking for a new coach in 2017. Essendon have finished last. Before we move on to the odds, let's take a look at the players that teams will be saying goodbye to this week. Well, Carlton have become the first team to, do some delistings. Cameron Wood has retired. Matthew Richard has been delisted, while Jaden Foster has been delisted. Daniel Gorringe is safe for another year. At Port Adelaide, we'll be saying goodbye to John Butcher, Sam Colquhoun, Kane Mitchell, and Alapate Carlisle. Richmond responded from that horrendous game against the Swans by getting rid of Liam McBean and Adam Markin. Port Adelaide will have announced that Bobby Carlisle will be retiring. Sean Hurley has been delisted by the Dockers. St Kilda have said their goodbyes. Tom Curran has been delisted. Luke Delaney delisted. Brenton Payne delisted. And Josh Saunders delisted. Gold Coast have got their goodbyes as well. They delisted Tom Keogh, Luke Russell, Danny Stanley, and Seb Tape. Russell, Stanley, and Tape, they were the three players from the inaugural roster of 2011. Luke Russell was the one who kicked the winner against Port Adelaide. Thanks for the memories, mate. Best of luck for your next adventure. As for Fremantle, Tanner Smith has also been delisted, while James Gwilt has been delisted by the Bombers. The Brisbane Lions will be announcing their delistings next week for their end of season review. Now we move on to the All-Australian team for 2016. In the back line, we got Dane Rampy, Alex Rant of Sydney, Alex Rance of Richmond, and hang on, before we announce the team, we move on to the initial 40. Brisbane and Essendon did not have anyone on the All-Australian team. For the Crows, they've got 6. Eddie Betts, Josh Jenkins, Rory Laird, Tom Lynch, Rory Sloane, and Daniel Talia. Carlton have got Sam Doherty and Kate Simpson for the initial 40. Collingwood will send Scott Pendlebury and Adam Treloar to the initial All-Australian 40. Fremantle standout was Lachie Neale. Geelong will send Paddy Dangerfield, Joel Selwood, and the soon-to-be retiring Corey Enright to the All-Australian 40. Gold Coast have got Tom Lynch for that spot. GWS will have Stephen Kenny-Leo, Toby Green, Tom Scully, Heath Shaw, Callan Ward. Hawthorn will send Jack Gunston, Sam Mitchell, and Cyril Rioli to the All-Australian 40. Melbourne, North Melbourne and Port Adelaide will have one each of Max Gawn, Robbie Tarrant, and Jasper Pettard. Jack Stevens also gone from St Kilda's also gone to the 40. Richmond have got Dustin Martin and Alex Rance contending for All-Australian. Sydney have got Buddy Franklin, Dan Hatterbury, Josh Kennedy, Luke Parker, Dane Rampy. West Coast, Andrew Gaff, Josh Kennedy, Jeremy McGovern, Luke Shuey. Western Bulldogs, Marcus Bontempelli and Matthew Boyd. For the 22. In the back line, we got Sydney's Dane Rampy, Richmond's Alex Rance, and West Coast Jeremy McGovern. At halfback, GWS's Heath Shaw, Adelaide's Daniel Talia, and Geelong's Corey Enright. Midfield, in the centre line, we got Sydney's Dan Hanbury, Sydney's Josh Kennedy, and Adelaide's vice-captain Rory Sloane. Half-forward line, we got Toby Green of the Giants, Buddy Franklin of the Swans, and Cyril Rioli of Hawthorn. In the forward line, Eddie Betts of Adelaide, West Coast Josh Kennedy, and Tom Lynch of the Gold Coast will be the first son other than Gary Ablett to make the All-Australian squad. Now for the ruck line, we've got Max Gawn of Melbourne. He's the premier ruckman of the season. Geelong's Paddy Dangerfield and his teammate, skipper Joel Selwood. As for the bench, we got Marcus Bontempelli of the Dogs, Luke Parker of the Swannies, Dustin Martin of Richmond, and Western Bulldogs' Matthew Boyd. While the coach for the All-Australian team will be named after the grand final. It could be anyone. For the AFL Players Associations Awards, Paddy Dangerfield has won the Lee Matthews Trophy as the AFL's most valuable player. The best captain is Tex Walker of the Adelaide Crows. Best first-year player, Callum Mills of the Sydney Swans. Most courageous goes to Luke Parker of the Swans. While the Grant Hatton Award goes to the ages, Emma Quayle. One of the well-respected football journos. And she's also about to become a recruiter for the Giants. The Education and Training Excellence Award goes to North Melbourne's Jamie McMillan. I reckon he's got himself a great future of potentially becoming a teacher once his AFL career is over. Well, the best under 22 players of the year. In the back line, we got Adelaide's Rory Laird, Carlton's Jacob Waitering, and Carlton's Sam Doherty. In the halfbacks, we got Sydney's Callum Mills, Adelaide's Jake Lever, and GWS's Zach Williams. In the centre line, we got Essendon's Zach Merritt, Carlton's superstar Paddy Cripps, and Stephen Cornelio of the Giants. Half forwards, Isaac Heaney of the Swannies, Jesse Hogan from Melbourne, and Christian Petrarca from Melbourne. Forward line, Bulldogs Jake Stringer, Essendon's Joe Danaher, and Collingwood's Darcy Moore. In the ruck line, we got Collingwood's Brodie Grundy, Western Bulldogs Marcus Bontempelli, the future captain of the Dogs, and Jack Viney of Melbourne. On the bench, Gold Coast Jack Martin, St Kilda's Tim Membry, Port Adelaide's Ollie Wines, and the Western Bulldogs Lachie Hunter. And that is the 22 under 22 team named. The Coleman medalist of this year is Buddy Franklin. Is Josh Kennedy of the West Coast Eagles of 80 goals. And now we move on to the Rising Star. The nominees of each round. In round 1, Melbourne's Clayton Oliver. Round 2, Darcy Parish of Essendon. Round 3, Jacob Wiedering of Carlton. Round 4, Caleb Daniel of the Western Bulldogs. Round 5, Sydney's Tom Papley. Round 6, Blake Acres of the Saints. Round 7's nominee, Melbourne's James Harms. Jacob Hopper nominated from his debut game in round 8. Round 9, Melbourne's Christian Petrarca. Round 10, Port Adelaide's Darcy Byrne-Jones. Round 11, Fremantle's Connor Blakely. Round 12 would be his teammate from Fremantle, Lachie Weller. Round 13, Hawthorn's James Sicily. Round 14, Jade Gresham of the Saints. Round 15, Gold Coast Peter Wright. Round number 16 goes to Sydney's Callum Mills. In round 17 is Orazio Fantasia of the Bombers, nominated for the second time. He was also nominated last season, for the previous year in 2015. Round 18, North Melbourne's Ryan Clark. Round 19, Collingwood's Darcy Moore. Round 20, Josh Dunkley of the Dogs. Round 21, Oscar McDonald of Melbourne. while Daniel Rioli got the second last round's nomination. In the last round, it's Tom Barrass. Anyways, we now look at the table votes for the Rising Star. In 8th place, with 1 vote, Melbourne's Clayton Oliver and Fremantle's Lachie Weller. In 6th, St Kilda's Jay Gresham and Melbourne's Christian Petrarca on 2 votes each. In 5th, we got Collingwood's Darcy Moore on 9 votes. 4th, Essendon's Darcy Parish on 19 votes. Had an impressive first season for the Dons. 3rd place, Carlton's Jacob Wiedering on 26 votes. 2nd, Caleb Daniel with the Western Bulldogs on 41 votes. And, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the 2016 Rising Star Award is Callum Mills of the Sydney Swans. He was nominated in round 16. Anyways, that will wrap up this week's episode. Next up, we got the final series. Bring it on.